Happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome back to the show. I hope you're having a great week. And all of my people out in Florida, I hope you're staying safe in the midst of Hurricane Milton. We talked a bit about Hurricane Helene and its intensification in last week's episode. As you know, Milton on a whole nother level, all right? So please, I hope you guys are staying safe. All right, in today's top 5, we got to talk about what's happening on the heels of week 6 in the NFL and some shakeups that are going to have some fantasy managers in shambles. But also a big boxing match taking place this weekend that I will definitely be watching. Then I want to talk movies, okay? This one's going to be for all of my DC comic fans. No spoilers, but we got to talk about the Joker movie part 2. I'm going to give you my review on that. But let's get things started with the classic question. Is your team 5-0? The Vikings and Chiefs have done it again. And while I think it's a bit too early to draw comparisons to the 1972 Dolphins and their perfect season, I am really loving this storyline of who will be the last undefeated team standing, especially considering the hardship that both teams have endured really from the start of the season. But let's dive into the Vikings a bit more here. And despite a lackluster performance from Sam Darnold in week 5 against his old team, the Jets, they pulled off the dub, right? Yeah, which really set into motion a lot of chaos this week. But first, those Darnold stats. Darnold completing 14 of 31 passes for 179 yards, no touchdown, 1 interception. He had this opportunity to show the Jets he was no longer seeing ghosts. I mean, I guess he did that because they got the win, right? But the Jets defense was a tough matchup for Sam Darnold's offense, and Darnold also sustained some sort of chest injury in the first quarter that could have impacted his play as well. Fortunately, the Vikings have a bye week to hopefully get all of that squared away before they take on the Lions at home. And I want to see what the Lions do with the Cowboys this week before I make a prediction for the Vikings-Lions Week 7 game, and that's because we're seeing injuries all over the league. I know the Texans are losing Nico Collins for some time, but we're seeing this all over the league, benching key players that really have the potential to offset an entire season. So we're going to talk about one of those in a second. But first, we got to talk Jets football. After losing 23-17 to the Vikings, morale must have been low, especially since they almost had the game in the bag. Aaron Rodgers was 29 of 54 for 244 yards, 2 touchdowns, and was picked off 3 times. Yeah, including a pick during their final potentially game-winning drive. With more than 2 minutes left and down 6 points, Aaron Rodgers was doing his thing, got to the 26-yard line, and bam, Vet CB Stephon Gilmore intercepts on 3rd down, and that's it for the Jets. So 2 losses back-to-back now. Aaron Rodgers also sustained an ankle injury. He was kind of limping throughout the second half after his foot got caught in a pile. But the most shocking news coming out of New York was the firing of head coach Robert Saleh Tuesday this week. Shocking, yeah, might be borderline hyperbole, as the Jets haven't been good for a while now. Saleh's regular season record was 20-36, no playoff appearances in 3+ seasons? But the whispers have started, and even though owner Woody Johnson says it was his call to fire Saleh, different connections have been made by sports media outlet SNY TV. Those reports say it all started Tuesday morning, a fateful Tuesday morning, when Robert Saleh demoted offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett, stripping him of his play calling duties. And a lot of people are like, so what? I mean, big deal, right? Clearly he's not doing that great of a job. Jets suck. But here's where wondering minds get going, because Hackett is reported to have a close relationship with who? Aaron Rodgers, of course, as they were together in Green Bay for 3 years from 2019 to 2021. And according to SNY TV, right after Saleh demoted Hackett, roughly 5 minutes later, just 5 minutes later, he was called into owner Woody Johnson's office and fired. And not only was he fired, apparently security walked him to his car, which, look, man, I'm sure it's standard, but it's always like, come on, it's that deep. I've seen that happen at work, and it's just like, oh man, like, what did this guy do? Is he a criminal? I mean, it looks serious always in whatever capacity. Is it the security to your car, security just holding the door for you on the way out? I mean, it just doesn't give you a good vibe. But anyway, all eyes on defensive coordinator turned head coach Jeff Ulbrich. We'll see what he can do against the Bills on Monday. And of course, this whole coach debacle added to the Aaron Rodgers is a diva. He's a coach killer, drawing up comparisons to who else? LeBron James. There are worse people to be compared to, honestly. But I think when you want to win championships and you pour everything you have into the game, I mean, yeah, you're going to do whatever it takes to win big. If a coach got to go, I guess he's got to go. But in my opinion, both LeBron and A-Rod fall short of that GOAT conversation. And unfortunately, these kinds of stories add fuel to that fire. You guys will have to let me know what you think in the comments. All right, let's head to the NFC South now. And on a serious note, NFC South states like North Carolina, Florida, Georgia have all been impacted by recent hurricanes, killing people in all of those states. Niners wide receiver Deebo Samuel sent $20,000 to his hometown of South Carolina this week for Hurricane Helene relief. And now with Milton, evacuations began earlier this week. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers outrunning the storm, evacuating with families, dogs to New Orleans so they could get there ahead of their Week 6 game against the Saints. And with Saints quarterback Derek Carr expected to miss multiple games after suffering an oblique injury in Monday night's loss against the Chiefs, Vegas doesn't have them winning anymore. The Bucs are now the 2-point favorites on the road, and I definitely have the Bucs winning. I mean, they're coming off a longer resting period. They're clear of the hurricane, thank goodness, although their homes are not, so lots of serious stuff happening there. But I think the crew is going to be able to buckle down, get the dub. Saints defense forced 4 Chiefs field goals with red zone stops, which was crazy to watch. But luckily, we've got old trusty in Harrison Butker, and he kept giving us those 3 points, But then there were times where Mahomes was really out there just juking that Saints defense. It was crazy. There were times where I'm like, how is he just breaking these tackles? I don't know. But that's why he's becoming the GOAT. But that's why he's becoming the GOAT, right? So anyway, I say that to say that Saints defense was a bit inconsistent during that game, and if that's a sign of things to come, I mean, yeah, that's definitely going to help the Bucs. Baker's going to be baking out on the field for sure. And I think Bucs defense will lock on and get the best of the Saints offense too, especially since they're now having to turn to 2 rookie quarterbacks and trying to figure it out. And you know, as far as the Raiders go, that never works. And so, yeah, I don't think this is a game that they win, guys. If they do, that's crazy. Okay, so we can get to the sweet science now, because arguably the best fight of the year is happening this Saturday with the undisputed title showdown of Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. Beterbiev is 20-0 with 20 KOs. Bivol is 23-0 with 12 KOs. And I'm mentioning KOs instead of all of their accolades. I mean, because these guys are the best of the best, cream of the crop when it comes to the light heavyweight division. But I gotta mention knockouts because I'm predicting one in this fight around round 8 or 9, delivered brutally from Beterbiev to Bivol. Now, for those people who remember the glory days of boxing, yeah, you know, the Hearns and the Haglers, the straight-up brawlers, this match is for you. People will know Bivol for beating up Canelo, but for some reason, Beterbiev has slid under the radar for so many years, but this time around, you will not be able to ignore him. He is a brutal fighter, and he reminds me of the Hulk, because when he gets angry, when he gets bloodied, I mean, whatever happens, he just turns it up into another gear and makes guys quit, and he's doing it to guys that have never done that in their lives. I mean, do you understand? I mean, let's take things back to January, for example, okay? So he taps gloves with Callum Smith. This guy has never been knocked out in his professional career. Meets Arthur, what happens? Round 7, Beterbiev crushes him. At 38 years of age, Callum was age 33. Before that, 2023, Arthur fights Anthony Yard, okay? Round 8, Yard's down corners like we've seen enough. Stops it. Done. 2022, Joe Smith Jr., round 2, it's a done deal. It's over, man. 2021 with Marcus Brown. Now, this was my favorite fight to watch, and you got Marcus Brown putting up a good fight, what fans like to see. I mean, this guy's no punk. Now, Beterbiev's face, I mean, you got to go back and watch the highlights. He's all bloody in round 4. I mean, this guy's leaking. He's been cut pretty bad. By round 6, I mean, his face has practically been painted red. I mean, he looks like the Red Hulk. So you know, when Hulk gets angry, he gets crazy, and that is what happens. Arthur turns it up to boxing god type levels and releases methodical violence on the man. He knocks Brown down in round 7, and then in the 9th, Brown takes a knee. Refs counting, he decides to stay down. Okay, and Marcus Brown is not a punk. I mean, this guy's gonna be fighting at cruiserweight. He's a big guy. He's bigger than Beterbiev. And I could go on, all right? I could go down his boxing record and show you. And what kills me the most are people saying, oh, Arthur's old at 39. And look, I'm not calling a guy old until he shows it, and Beterbiev ain't showing it. He's beating younger opponents to a pulp, making it look easy. He's making guys quit. He's built like a Russian ox. Okay, and I know that Bivol's an ox too, but Arthur's just a bigger one. Okay, and if you watch boxing, you know names like Bernard Hopkins, George Foreman, Mayweather, Pacquiao, Klitschko, Holyfield. I mean, they were all world champions in their late 30s and early to mid 40s. George Foreman became the oldest world heavyweight champion at, age 45. The people who are holding Artur Beterbiev's age against him probably feel old themselves because they already gave up in life, okay? But more importantly, you've been made to believe a 39-year-old boxer is old because we're in this generation now of cherry picking. So you don't see the best of the best. All right, you really got to climb through the trenches to get to the top because you see these promoters, for example, who put all this money behind these guys and protect them so they remain undefeated on their way to the top. So when they do turn 30, you start to see the chinks in the armor. They're really not as good as you thought they were. When you're truly great, you're going to be great for a while. And that's why you gotta watch this fight, because it's a return to the classic age of boxing. This is what boxing is supposed to be, and I'm happy that Artur Beterbiev is finally getting more spotlight after whipping so many feats, because it's time for 21 wins and 21 KOs. That's my word, and I'm sticking to it, okay? That's my prediction, and I gotta put it out there for all of you guys. If you disagree with me, that's okay. You can fight me, whatever. I know how to I know how to fight. Look at me. Yeah, you got it right there. Not this. I don't know why people fight like that. All right, that's enough sports for now. And I would talk a little bit about college football, but my Jayhawks are really breaking my heart right now. Okay, I'm really looking forward to this basketball season. That's what they've reduced me to at this point. I'm just another typical KU basketball fan. And as far as CFB goes, my Colorado K-State prediction from last week still stands. I got K-State winning. If Colorado does, they are no longer Big 12 pretenders, but bona fide contenders, as I said. But look, man, if they can make it competitive against K-State, I will be happy with that too. I mean, I want Colorado to win. I don't like K-State, okay? But I just gotta, give respect where it's due, and I think we gotta give some respect to K-State as well. So we'll see what happens, and I'll be watching that fight. I'll be watching that game after the Beterbiev Bivol fight. But let me cater to my movie peoples right quick, okay? As some of you know, I'm big on my movies. I love my scary ones especially. It's October after all. And I wasn't mad at the Salem's Lot remake on HBO Max. I mean, it's not an amazing movie, but for an HBO Max version of a Netflix movie, yeah, it left me happy, and it was a Halloween feel-gooder. Yeah, so I mean, obviously it's based on the Stephen King book Salem's Lot. I've never read it. I probably should. And then they made that into a movie, and then they've got this one out. So, check it out. I think it was kind of fun for those of you who are in the Halloween spirit, all right? Now, for my hardcore gore fans, okay, let me know if you're going to be checking out Terrifier 3 this week. I'm going to go see it today, actually. And look, after Terrifier 2, I'm going to make sure I don't eat too much beforehand, okay? That movie is crazy. And man, after Terrifier 2, I'm going to make sure I don't eat too much. For those of you who have no clue what I'm talking about, the Terrifier movies are about this crazy clown named Art. He's super scary looking, black and white face, disgusting, sharp, nasty teeth, and basically he goes around killing people in the worst ways imaginable, all right? He's truly a maniac, and I would not recommend anyone with a weak stomach watch because, man, this guy is insane. And apparently the latest rendition has had people throwing up at the movies, walking out in the first 5 minutes. We're hearing all of this build up. I hope they're just not gassing it up. Okay, and this time he's dressed as Santa Claus, so I'm just happy it's coming out before Christmas because that is not a movie I'm going to see during Christmas. Okay, naturally can't wait to see it, but very disturbing, so tread carefully, and always remember, don't blame me. Okay, but I wanted to talk, no spoilers, about Joker 2, Folie à Deux, with Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga. And look, let me start things off by saying this. I think Heath Ledger's Joker is the best comic book Joker portrayal of all time. I also love Jack Nicholson's portrayal. I think all of these actors bring something totally different to the screen. And as we've seen Joker portrayed through comics throughout the years, I mean, there are lots of different sides that you can bring. But like I said, Heath Ledger by far, that's my favorite. And that's just what I'm sticking to. Now, Joaquin's performance in the first Joker movie was absolutely Oscar worthy. And I love that movie. And I felt a lot of empathy towards Arthur Fleck. I will never forget the line, "Everybody is awful these days." I mean, it really struck a chord with me in that epic interview scene where he's like, Murray, people are just awful now, Murray. And I just was like, dang, he said Murray. I'm like, anybody named Murray? I'm going to start calling them Murray. And look, man, I've always been a huge fan of Joaquin Phoenix. I think he's one of the greatest actors of our generation, of all time. And without a doubt, I mean, his acting was on par in the second movie, okay? But the musical elements killed me. And that's coming from somebody who actually loves musicals. Singing a song under your breath, that's one thing. It can be eerie, it can be used as a nice thematic device, all of these great things. But the film had several singing performances, so yeah, it definitely classifies as a musical. And like I said, I love musicals. I loved Baz Luhrmann's Moulin Rouge, okay? I love that. I think that was an excellent example of how music can drive a plot forward and solidify themes. I just didn't feel like Joker 2's music scenes really did that. And, you know, if I dissect the movie, I can find appreciation, of course. I mean, the ending, for example, left us with a whole lot to consider. But, I mean, look, man, it wasn't enough. I mean, there wasn't enough dialogue. There was not enough plot to justify the changed narrative and story arc that was established in Joker 1. And honestly, that felt like a huge slap in the face, okay? I mean, there were parts that were executed perfectly. And you're going to get that when you have somebody like Joaquin Phoenix on screen. But the overarching story was sacrificed. And I don't know why they did that. I mean, I'd like to see a couple of those scenes again, but honestly, I'd be doing a lot of fast forwarding. And at that point, why not just rewatch Joker again? All right, to capture what I was hoping they were going to reiterate in the second movie. So you guys have to let me know what you think. Honestly, the movie just came out, so I didn't want to give you any spoilers or anything, because I did enjoy watching the movie, but I'm not going to lie, the musical parts, I was like, are you serious right now? There was maybe one song that they were singing, and I'll mention the name of the song because it wasn't a trailer. It was a Carpenter song that Gaga was singing while Joaquin was locked up, and I just was like, I liked that. And if they stuck with that kind of stuff as far as the singing, I thought that would be really perfect. And I thought Gaga did a good job for the role she was handed, but you know, me and my mom were talking about who would have been the perfect deranged Harley Quinn, Juliette Lewis. Oh, I love Juliette Lewis. If you don't know who I'm talking about, she was the female lead, I believe, in What's Eating Gilbert Grape when she was younger. She's in Yellow Jackets now. I haven't watched that show. She was also in Natural Born Killers, and I just think she has this crazy that she has nailed down and made so unique to herself. I just think she would have been great in that movie, but I think Gaga held her own for the parts that she was in the movie, okay? So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know your NFL hot takes of the week, and then also who you expect to win in the biggest brawl of the year, Beterbiev and Bivol, because that is our show. If you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. Join me in the comment section. If you're listening elsewhere, make sure you guys review and of course rate the podcast. I always love to hear from you. I hope you guys have an amazing week. I'll see you back here next Thursday.